Hey there, good evening. It's Odin here again, drawing on this fine Sunday evening. I was watching football. It was halftime. I was just drawing, and then I was like, let's make another video, update everybody, a few things to talk about. Um, but I think that's probably going to be like the norm is that I put out videos on Sunday. It's kind of like a lazy day for me, nothing really going on, and it's the end of the week. It's a good time to update everybody on all things Odin, all things Unconditional Shove, all things Broken Compass Comics. Which we have exciting news on all fronts. So yeah, we're here penciling on page 73. I was inking earlier, and I just got into a penciling mode, which I never get. I'm always in an inking mode. I love inking. So I didn't quite finish all the inks on 72 before I jumped into penciling or tightening up the pencils on 73, which I'm working on now. But here I'll give you a sneak peek of 72. Like I said, still in progress, but yeah, and working on pencils for 73. Let's see, what news do we got? Unconditional Shove. We have news on that front. Not only am I penciling page 73, we get the countdown just page after page as we get closer to wrapping up every single page of this awesome anthology, 2 stories, and here we are with friends like these, getting closer to the climactic ending, and then Frit, Unconditional Shove is done. And one other thing that's exciting to announce, I had kind of alluded to it other times, but news on Kull of Atlantis. Kull the Conqueror is Marvel, so not to get ever confused. The Kull of Atlantis story that I was originally doing for another anthology that Luke Stone and some other people were putting together. Both James and I were working on stories for that anthology book, 6-page stories. James was doing Call of Cthulhu, which was a crossover between Cthulhu and Winnie the Pooh, which is a brilliant story. I've seen it. I've seen all the art, and everything's ready to go with that. And then I was working on Kull of Atlantis, which, I'd shared images on here before. You may remember if you'd seen other older videos, some of the stuff I was doing on that. And way back in the day, was doing pages for, or working on those pages while I was on JBot's art streams. So you may have seen them there if you ever wandered in there and checked it out. Those were back in the day. I put that totally on the back burner as I worked almost exclusively on shove pages to try to get caught up as that became the priority. But now the exciting news is they are coming together. Both James and I thought it was in our best interest to pull our stories from the Out of Obscurity anthology, which we were originally writing those for. And we wish all the best to those guys, and we hope, I'll probably almost definitely be getting that anthology and checking it out because I got to know all the people that are involved. But it just made sense for us to put it out under the Broken Compass Comics label. And with that, we were wondering what to do with these 2 stories, whether we put them in our own anthology with like 6-page stories. Because they're both public domain characters as of fairly recently. So we were like, that was the whole thing about that anthology, was that the Out of Obscurity anthology is all public domain characters. And so we did those 2, but as we pulled them, we said, what are we going to do with them ourselves? And both James and I decided that Cthulhu, his story, is going to be an add-on to, so just extra pages within the book of Magnificent Bastards #1. And then Kull, likewise, is going to be added pages, just a whole other little short story in there at the end of Unconditional Shove. So you're getting more pages for free, everyone who backed. And my plan, and we'll have to see going forward, but my plan is this becomes the only way you can get these stories. is through Magnificent Bastards #1 and Unconditional Shove #1. And specifically the first print of those. So when we reprint Unconditional Shove, it will not have the Kull story in it. Just this first edition print for all the people who backed right off the rip, who believed in this, who wanted it, just as a gift from us to you. Trying to add to its collectability, I guess, its limited nature, is it's going to be a very small print run. And so everyone who backed is going to have a fairly exclusive comic book, and that's going to be both the black and white and the color versions. But yeah, I mean, if you remember, I have some Kull stuff I can show you to remind you of what you're getting. This will be black and white in the back, whether it's the color version or black and white version, because this was created to be black and white. I guess there's part of me that kind of wants to see what Demir would do with it color-wise. But page #1, I think, kind of floated around. Like, I think a lot of people saw this one. And I hope it doesn't fuck up my camera. It was acting like it wanted to. But this one, outside of the lettering, is ready to go. Same with page 2 and 3. They're both completely inked and ready to go. I just need to add the lettering. And all the lettering is penciled in. So nearly ready to go. So page 2. It's just like show you the whole thing. But like there's still a few pages need done. Oops. Page 3. And that's just going to be extra material. All ready to go. Just needed inked. I started inking on page 3 or page 4, before I just focused solely on Shove. So that one is getting there. And I'm excited. I'm very proud of this little short story of Kull. And happy to be having it in the back of Unconditional Shove exclusively for everyone who was in on the ground floor. Yeah, other than that, let's see, what other news? We have big news in the Broken Compass comics front. We are going to be working on some content that will be exclusive to our website as we update that as well. And we're trying to drive traffic to the website as we want to eventually make that a place to launch. So that's new news. Let's see. What else? You know how hard it is, or how much I suck at drawing and talking at the same time. Oh, well, let's talk about that for a little bit. I can't give the details because it is it's not something we want to reveal just yet. But as James and I were just talking and brainstorming, he threw out this idea. And as quite often, his ideas are crazy and genius almost need like just a little fine tuning, and that's where I come in. And we work together to make these want to make these ideas become reality. And this one is no different. Like I said, I haven't talked to him about how much we can talk about. I'll just say they're pre-recorded. It's not comic book. It's just something that Broken Compass that we want to do. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Anyway, I'm drinking whiskey on ice. And I'll show you, I got this this stuff. Tried it last night. It was really, really good, and it's still really good. Tin cup, mountain whiskey. And true to their name, had a little tin shot glass that came with it. The stuff is extremely smooth, and it says even on here, cut with Rocky Mountain water. Now, I don't know if that's a suggestion or what they're telling you how they made it, but it may not be Rocky Mountain water, Cascade water, ice, and pretty dang good. So I really enjoyed that. Trying something new, a new whiskey. And I still have Old Reliable for when I make my Boilermakers, which is, Evan Williams Kentucky bourbon. Cheap stuff. From 80s Made Art Auction, I purchased some Rod Looper art, which I received. Which, you gotta see this stuff. Dude's phenomenal, as most everyone knows. But he sent both the rough and the finished. So I'll show the rough first. Look at that. This looks like it wants to freak out my camera too. Yep, it killed my camera. And then his finished page. Original art from Rod Looper. Shit was awesome. It's too freaking cool. So I was happy to get that. I just wanted to share that with you all as well. So I was drinking this stuff last night with 80s Made Consumer and Abra, and it's her birthday today. Once again, happy birthday, Abra. We celebrated last night, and she's got that baby face, so it's like she could be 20 years old for all we know. Maybe it was her 21st. But once again, happy birthday. She just dropped a new video about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and she was very excited for that. I watched a little bit of it, but she convinced me to check it out, and so I started watching her video, and I just want to say there's spoilers. She kind of goes through the plot, and I went, I gotta stop the video. But looks like a great review video, as she usually does. And a movie I'm going to check out. And then I made a suggestion to her a while back. We were talking about stop motion animation, which that one is. And I mentioned to her Mad God, which I had not seen yet. And I said, it's like a marvel of stop motion animation and all this stuff. But I hadn't even seen it yet. And I'd heard things. And I said, it's probably an acquired taste, kind of preparing her. Well, I sat down and watched it myself. I had to wait for a moment when I wasn't drawing, because, it requires more visual attention. And when I'm like this, I watch lots of movies while drawing, and I watch a thing, I watch football, whatever, and I draw, and I can kind of look up every once in a while. But passively look and intently listen. Well, Mad God was one. I knew I wanted all my visual attention, or as much as possible. And holy shit, man. I watched that. So I had a moment. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to draw. I'm just going to watch this. One of the most visually stunning spectacles I've ever seen. Extremely surreal. And extremely dark. So when I suggest it to someone like Abra, I'm like, I don't know if you're going to like it. You might appreciate it. I'm sure she'll appreciate it on the level, but it's almost painful at times. It drags you. It's like an afternoon in hell. It just drags you. It's very dark. Lots of monsters, though, which I loved. Everything about it. The soundtrack, incredible. Really helped with the mood. The score was great, but obviously you tune in for the visuals. Now, I don't know if there's any story there. There's definitely a story. What it means is quite ambiguous, and I don't know if it's allegory. I'm sure there's tons of that there, and I'm sure if he could explain it, he would. But when you're watching it, you're like, I don't know what I'm watching. Just seems like a lot of monsters and torture. I mean, it's craziness. But on artistic merit, it's something to behold for sure. And I can say without hyperbole, it might be the most visually entertaining thing I've ever watched. But I had to watch it in like 2 segments, partially because I had some shit to do and I didn't want to lose focus and I had to do this, but also partially because I needed a break. I was like, all right, whew, take a break. Like remind myself that reality is reality. It's that intense. So I'd say highly recommended, but understand it's definitely not for everybody. He knew that going in. But it's Phil Tippett, if you don't know. Phil Tippett's big name in stop motion animation and special effects throughout the years. And it was kind of touted as this is a 30 years in the making, which is somewhat of a misnomer because, yeah, it took 30 years, but it's not like he's been working on it every free second he had for 30 years, although I'm sure it took forever. Yeah, I know when I read about it, he took like some long breaks and stuff. So, anyway, Mad God, Abra, if you're watching, like, give it a shot. Remember what I said. It's not for everybody. It's extremely dark, extremely surreal. But those who know probably really do appreciate it. And I looked at the reviews because I watched it on Shudder on Amazon and checked out the reviews, and they were love it or hate it. There are people who are like, I have no idea what the hell I just watched. I feel like I need to take a shower. And there's other people who are just like visually stunning, a masterpiece, So it's all subjective. I enjoyed it for what it is, but again, it takes you deep into the depths of like craziness. Yeah, it was a Mad God, and then I'm gonna check out Pinocchio. Abra recommended that, and I'll give it a shot. I do like Guillermo del Toro, so we'll give it a shot. What else? Oh, so like I was saying, the Kull is going to be added to Unconditional Shove, just as a thank you to everyone who backed and believed in this. And so you're just getting extra pages for free, which I'm happy to do. I'm excited to do. I want this to have a good representation of a lot of things. But also, this was another one, and not a stretch goal, just like the Kull was not a stretch goal, but I have the Skunk Artworks painting, which I got the original hand painted by Skunk Artworks himself. A phenomenal painter. If you have not checked out his Twitter or his Instagram, you should. And fast, like he's always working on something. And this camera and this lighting will never do justice to how cool this painting actually is. And you will find out when you get the prints that everybody who backed the campaign, at least the physical version, are receiving a print with their shipment of that Skunk Artworks. And me holding it up did it no justice. The camera's already screwed up. Never mind. I was going to show it under this camera and see if that helped. But that one's frozen on some pretty kick-ass Rod Looper art. Rough draft, which, again, it's like his roughs are better than most people's, final draft. So, let's say, I know I'm going to forget something because there's several things I want to talk about. But anyway, everyone's getting that, a print of that. Everyone's getting the extra Kull story thrown in. So, and again, it's just value. It's just, I just like showing people appreciation. Like, you believed in it, you wanted this, and I'm happy to give it to you. I'm so happy to give it to you that I'm going to add extra and just make it more value for you. And I'm really proud of the Kull story. Just got to finish inking it. Got to finish inking the Shove pages as well. And real quick, there's a campaign that I'm more excited for than most. And it's because I've been following him for a long time. He was kind of my gateway YouTuber into hearing about the whole world of CG, because it was watching videos of him. I was looking at like old inking tutorials, and it was Richard Friend, old inking tutorials from Richard Friend, and I was like, holy shit, you know. But I was also, you know, picking up some insight. And he kept talking about this book, Blaster Kid. That was like almost 3 years ago. And he kept talking about Blaster Kid. And I'm like, dude, you make a book, I'm down, you know, I'm really excited. And he only had like 2 images of Blaster Kid that he was sharing. And from those 2 images, he's like, oh, let's do some fan art. And, you know, he got a lot of submissions, a lot of really cool submissions. I'm trying to think of the people that I still kind of see that I know. Chauncey Blakely was one that I recognize the name. Obviously some really good submissions, but I submitted one, and then it was Richard Friend, and he was doing a show with Kelsey Shannon, and they were going through the submissions, and they brought up mine, and I will share it with you now. I have to hold it up this way because my camera freaked out, but that was my Blaster Kid. And it was funny how the hairstyle, he was like, oh, I don't know if I'm keeping that. That's just what I went with to begin with. And I'm like, well, I only had 2 images to draw from, because he was given, kind of laughing about how everybody added the bandolier on her shoulders and stuff. And we're like, well, the images you drew, she had the bandolier, so. So anyway, it was exciting to have him and Kelsey Shannon kind of go, oh, look, Odin Dasco, you know. Kelsey admired my foreshortening, which, yeah, some nice foreshortening on the hands and gun and everything. So that was fun, but that's kind of like been on the back burner for him for a long time, and now he's finally has a sign up for Blaster Kid. I remember I got my daughter into it. She's like super excited about it. And, you know, like the excitement waned because there wasn't anything going on. But now I can tell her it's happening. We're going to get the comic here soon. And then the artwork that he's shown now, some finished pages from the book. It's just like, dude, Richard, you're on another level. I know he's fairly humble, but he's also fairly confident, like that good mix. But I don't think he realizes how much anticipation from people who love really, really, really good art, black and white art specifically. Even though I know, pretty sure Kelsey Shannon's coloring it. But the black and white is, it's mind blowing how good it is. So Richard, we're all excited for that. I am, but like I said, I've been in preparation. I've been waiting for this, or waiting for a campaign for like 3 years now almost. So very excited for that. Yeah, and I got to get working on a Embrace 2 fan art that I want to do as well. We'll get on that soon. Lots going on, but that's just Unconditional Shove, you know, fan art and stuff like that, and just doing art and Kull. I got to finish that up. But James and I have other future projects that we're looking at, as this year is just it's filling up fast with you know, when we were projecting out and trying to come up with reasonable timelines, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna be busy. And that's not even mentioning what's going on in the personal life of Odin. Something else I've talked about very often, you know, my kids and their mom moved to Missouri, and that's been a weird thing so far. They were here for Christmas, which was great, but you know, they went back and I'm missing them like crazy. Well, I'm going out there in March for their spring break, and I'm flying out there, so I will go to Missouri, see what the hell it's all about, stay there for a week, you know, spend some time in solitude a little bit too. Got a nice little Airbnb, and just contemplate the future. But I got to get an idea what Missouri is all about. So I may be very likely, I mean, I just think it's probably a foregone conclusion at this point, but I can't say till I go out there. that I'll probably be moving to Missouri. Not specifically where I want to go, but obviously my kids are there, so so that's another thing that will be happening this year. If nothing else, I'm going out there for a week, but it looks like probably all the logistics of work, moving cross country, or at least halfway across the country. So that whole thing, and then also, trying to make some conventions this year. The content that James and I are trying to work on for the BCC channel and for the website and the books. So he's wanting to put out another 2 Magnificent Bastards this year. Which again, he hit some snags on the first one, but he's looking to put out 2. I'm definitely putting out volume 2 of Unconditional Shove, launching it around the same time, hopefully kind of the same time period, making it a yearly book. And then James also got another book that he's writing. He's got a great art team on it, and that's called Kill Them Dead, which is really exciting. I'm very much looking forward to that. It's like nothing anybody's seen before. Incredible stuff. The artwork's incredible. The concept is great. The story is great. That's going to be a lot of fun. Lots of other cool things surrounding that book that I can't spill the beans on yet either. So there's some things you just can't talk about yet. But yeah, so lots going on. And I know we talked about doing Sliver. And on the website it even says 2024. So that's nice to give us that buffer, because the chances of getting Sliver out the door this year are pretty slim. Now, I would want to. Sliver's going to be a lot of fun, but the chances of it happening this year are pretty slim. So yeah, before we blink, this year is going to go by, but we're hoping to have tons of new exciting content just thrown out there, and just stay busy, and keep growing, and keep improving, and keep making progress. That's all we want. And we know, I firmly believe, once everyone gets books in hand, Magnificent Bastards, Unconditional Shove, and then soon Kill Them Dead, that we can prove our salt, So prove your salt, prove your worth, your weight in salt. I don't know. Yeah, is it weight in salt? I don't know. Man, I'm screwing up my idioms. I used to know. Sounded like an idiot with my idioms. But anyway, yeah, that's I think that's all that's fit to print. I mean, that's still a lot to talk about. And yeah, just excited to get this done, get Kull done, and get it printed and shipped. Demir's pages are right there. He's coloring pages all the time. Getting lettered pages from James all the time. So when I first got colored pages from Demir, it was like a extremely humbling, mind-blowing thing, because I'm like drawing all these black and white pages, and then saying, oh, it'll get colored, and not knowing till you see somebody actually lay colors down, and if you're working on it, you're in the project, but when it's stuff you've drawn and then you get colored pages back, you're like, wow, I never saw it that way, and then so that was like super humbling and exciting, invigorating, and got colored pages back from Demir, and just more and more. He's been sending them like crazy, and he's nearly caught up. And then now getting lettered pages from James, it's like that's again same kind of feeling, where I'm like, it's a legitimizing feeling. You're like, this is becoming a comic. The script is here, and the artwork's here, and now, yeah, you can see it, and it's beautiful. I'm excited. Can't wait for everybody to see this and enjoy it. So with that, it's almost been a half hour of me rambling. I'm going to watch some more football, draw some more. And my camera's been stuck on Rod Looper, which is fine. It's a beautiful image. But yeah, we're going to wrap this up. So with that, this is Odin. hope you are all doing pure awesome. Wherever you're at in life, whatever obstacles you're facing, I hope you're facing them with power, strength, courage, integrity, honor, humility, kindness, and just being pure awesome. And until next time, that's all I got. We'll talk to you later. This is Odin. See ya.